Hello and welcome back. We are here. We are live. We got a little Overwatch action coming at you. Fairfield University and DePaul. Fairfield University will be looking to take their next step, I think it said from the video there, here today with possibly taking their second win of the season. 2-4 coming in here against DePaul, LaFon.
Yeah, DePaul unfortunately still hunting for that first victory, so this is really a case of one team looking for their first win and trying to be stymied by their opposition in Fairfield University. As we get a quick look at our map pool, where we're going to be starting, of course, is going to be on Busan this week. So ultimately, as we get a quick glance through, this should be a... I mean, we got a chance to see this earlier on stream, just the last match, of course. And Busan, one of my favorite maps in the game, Tugboat, I have to admit. It's such a hotly contested map that has so many different styles you can really play on it.
I can definitely agree. Control, overall the best. And there you go. That's why we love Busan right there. How interesting. And that is on top of our bell or gong. Bell, large bell, something else that I found on the Google search earlier for you guys. Essentially what we ended on was that gongs are entirely made of metal and are larger.
Cute. It's a nice little piece of artistic work.
There you go.
It's Roadhog taking down 2 large fish.
Like the koi fish and stuff, right?
I believe so.
That's what they call them. There you go. No, not mirror compositions. The only thing they have similar are the Lucios, actually. Excuse me. That's going to be Gil here getting first for the side of Fairfield University. Your blue team, the Red Stags, on the left side. Back to the middle. Point A opening up in about 10 seconds. Just on paper, I think I like the Sombra Reaper a little bit better than the Tracer Genji. Maybe a classic dive look from DePaul, but hey, that's going to pay off until Kronos falls here. Logo as well, down dusted as Fairfield University losing a couple different players. Now there's a little DPS duel in the middle. Rick going to be winning that one out. Without healers, not sure how much longer Fairfield University can stay alive. Reinforcements come in. DePaul reigns supreme for now.
DePaul University really doing a good job of supporting their tanks in the middle of that fight, right? We saw Zafe actually specifically stabilize through Obscure's healing from the Moira. So something you love to see. Now, I will say for DePaul University, they have to keep an eye out onto Walk, who is close to the EMP, I should say. And really nothing to duel against it, though Noob can delay that fight a little bit with a stick to eliminate a target.
Maybe a Lucio first, the Reaper out of Shadow Step, something like this. Nope. Gonna paint that one on the ground. DePaul University still finding K's regardless. 2 ultimates here invested between the Coalescence and the Sticky Bomb. DePaul University is granted a team. There we go. There's the bell. Gong bell, drum, whatever you want to call it. That's the sound we all love.
Yeah, that's going to actually be up to 60% now. And that's really off the back of just the Coalescence as the Pulse Bomb had gone wide. Now, I mean, Primal Rage and Blade are going to be available, so a lot of disruption possible for DePaul in this next fight as Walk tries to find the targets for the EMP. And again, they're grouping up so tightly here.
Nice. Whoa, hack. That's what that one's called. There's going to be some more hacks of a different kind, maybe a more physical kind here from Samurai. I think I recovered that well.
Nice. As the Samurai uses the Sorry spray. Actually, and Gil was denied the sound barrier in the middle of that fight, taken away before they could even touch the ground. So 95%, who's going to touch? I mean, there is still the opportunity. The EMP is still available for Walk. They get to the objective.
There's going to be a little bit of overtime action at least. The Gravitic Flux comes up. I'm not sure if that got anybody in it, unfortunately. That's going to be a self-destruct, destroying the main support here of Fairfield, but still striking back is Vortex, at least for now, Samurai. Hacked Genji is a mostly useless Genji. Is getting healing out here. Kronos still has that one. Now here comes the Coalescence, and I think that's what DePaul needs to keep this one alive. Little sound barrier action at the end. Logo goes into the whole hog form and cannot get to it in time with the 50% reduction in movement speed.
It's significant. What's more significant, that was 100-0 from
Yes.
DePaul University. As we get a quick look, there's the hack, but I mean, you need to be able to close out the elimination onto the Tracer. Just cannot be there. And while all that's happening, it's actually Samurai with the go button. So well played there by DePaul University, really stepping forward aggressively. And I mean, Fairfield are playing this weird hybrid composition that doesn't have a win condition established, right? So that's the big thing. Yeah, you need to find a little bit more value here. They're gonna play more of a rush style, though with a Hanzo. So this is more about the combo between the Dragon Strike and the Graviton Surge, whereas DePaul University still on that dive comp. And I mean, why change what isn't broken as they really controlled the tempo in that last round?
Fair enough. A super kind of medium range comp here for Fairfield. Purple out, doesn't land on anybody there. Nice job responding to this one in the back. The execution, finish him. Noob taken out of this one, little headshot action. Chronos follows suit here in the back. Quef getting super low at this, but did not strike when the iron was hot on that one. Now a purple down bottom, gonna get enough healing onto everybody. Quef and Gil not gonna be taken out of this one so easily. Vortex unfortunately separated down bottom. I think that might have been a miscoordination between this Fairfield University squad.
Yeah, what should have happened there is, so the reason why that goes through is because on the back line, though the sleep comes in, it's really nice. It takes away, rather, 2 members of the 6 players. So it becomes a 4v5 in the front line and a 2v1 in the back. Really what should have happened is Gil should have ignored the Tracer, trust your DPS to actually get the elimination, and then move on. Instead, it becomes that, the 4v5, and the DePaul wins it and are in control. Coalescence to open things up here, putting so much pressure on this front line.
Yeah, that's going to be Walk having a long one of those back to spawn room. Obscure does fall in the thick of things, but a single ultimate, oh, excuse me, 2 ultimates. Zeph has popped theirs as well. That's, not sure if that one was necessary.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah, Coalescence plus the Tesla, I feel like that would, who knows?
Zafe was fairly low when they used the Primal Rage. They didn't want to go down, so, I mean, respectable, I suppose. Here's the thing, though. Do you wait for the Graviton Surge because the Dragon Strike is so far ahead, or you kind of just go for broke? The Shatter just not even have a chance to activate.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe High Noon, but yeah, Rick does opt for that one, still saving that one for right now. That's Walk's Dragons on this Hanzo player. A recontest coming in here soon, as of course we are hitting about 72%. That's one long team fight left as Chronos flies up. Get this player nested up top. Zeph falling first, not ideal for the main tank for DePaul University. Vortex finding 2. There's a self-destruct kill against the main support here for Fairfield. Now on to point. Vortex barely saved by some well-placed Gil shots on that. Swing away. And that's going to be enough. Fairfield University, even if they don't take this one, is not going to be enough. Oh! Let me see it.
Yeah, it's going to be just the hold now. I think that's most interesting there is that they only use the Nano Boost, actually. Well, and I suppose the Coalescence from at a certain point. But the big problem here is that DePaul University also didn't use much in that last fight. So it's going to be a heated, spirited action in this next engagement. And it's really about who executes better. Noob actually finding Gil in the spawn room. You can see Gil's having a hard time there.
Just didn't hit the stick, didn't need to. Getting back with it, and the rest of their squad will be Noob. That's a perfectly timed sound barrier. But that is also pretty much every ultimate that they had. Once, I mean, sound barrier was necessary, and blade were definitely necessary, but this is the end of the game. Why hold on to it? You can't take it with you when you go. 2-0 will be your Oasis map for the first score for DePaul.
And it really doesn't feel like DePaul University is looking for that first win, right? They played with composure in that series, and I mean, sure, Samurai here with the highlight here. I mean, this has really been all the squad of DePaul really stepping up and playing as a team. Remarkable stuff from them there. And now Fairfield are on the back foot after map 1.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I really feel like the DPS players have had such a huge impact in these games. When there's a backdoor unlocked in any way, shape, or form, whether that's Samurai Kai that's playing the Genji, these Tracers, Noob. No, we didn't see a whole lot of sticks from these Tracer players in general, Lafon, but that doesn't really matter, right? Yeah. Again, the perfect example there towards the very, very end of that game. I bet you that this Fairfield University squad could have used that and a player. Doesn't matter if the stick came in or if it did damage and then came in the end with the burst damage from this Tracer. Didn't matter. Still got there in its time until denied the healing. the end of the day, DPS players just been able to reign supreme here, man, really.
And that's the other thing too, right? Is that it's the right play from Noobs surviving in the backline. Sure, there's that one sleep from Gil that was very strong to open up the map, or open up the round, I should say. But overall, it has been a case of both Samurai and Noob being allowed to do what they will. And even then, I think Zafe has slightly overstepped their boundaries on the Winston a little bit, right? We saw a couple of moments where they took a little bit further, a little bit more space than they necessarily had control over, and were punished as a result. But that didn't really make much of a difference in the grand scheme of the map. So, you know, the one of the things I used to say when I was still coaching, the difference between feeding and aggression is how much you're punished. And in this case, not punished at all was DePaul University. So really working with the space they were given.
No, I mean, a lot of times when I'm casting, you know, main support, main tank go down first. Even with the decision between the two, I'm going to take the main support falling first outside of the main tank. But if the transaction there is Zafe getting a little bit too aggressive and the monkey following, and that's the only pick that goes against DePaul, I'll make that trade every single day.
Speaking of trades, we now trade Busan for Eichenwald as our map 2, and DePaul University have now showcased zero change across. Well, they did play a slightly different composition on map 1, but have really stayed standard since then. Fairfield University are going for the double shield here. A lot more mainline damage, as I like to call it, with the hit scan. Right, you have to be so careful walking in close, with, you know, just how direct they can be.
Rick did 20% already. Crazy stuff.
Counterpoint, Obscure up to 30.
Yeah, Noob sees, yeah, and that just shows you just how much damage really coming in there. Okay, so you take Walk, and you take Rick. You decide who goes up top and who stays down bottom. One of whom has an unlimited sprint, one of whom has a somersault, quite literally. And you pick the Cole Cassidy to go down bottom. Can't agree with that one. This team fight's been over about 10 seconds ago or so. DePaul University, like you were saying, looking absolutely impressive right now.
I think the most impressive part about that was that they all grouped up on the one target. Right, we heard from the main tank Max FTW in the last game about how Dive really you isolate a target who's out in the open and they just go down, right? And that's what happens there to Walk, who's caught out on an island. And DePaul University make the most of it. So they're going to open up the second phase and have the coalescence to kind of continue things through here. So Obscure should be sort of the focal point, I think, of DePaul University's next offensive gambit.
Speaking of focal points, Logo up front, kind of getting separated from the team there for a second, showing the pensiveness in that one, and Samurai now gets an opening for a nice flank. It's a lot of damage, but a lot of attention, and throughout all of this, of course, Payload has been moving. Just kind of alternating over who crosses the top of this kind of castle edge right here, and throughout all the thick of things, Fairfield University falling left, right, and center, and still, DePaul University has been moving Payload this whole time. Oop! GG's.
Hi. Oh, and Gil takes out Noob as well.
Yeah, so DPS was singing their praises earlier. Not ideal looks from DePaul University. They keep those two alive. They could have at least been pushing this 3 on and might have been knocking on door at this point.
Yeah, no, that's going to stall out the cart quite a bit, actually. And, I mean, now DePaul University are in a rather precarious position because they don't have, you know, the necessary engage tools as Fairfield University kind of looks back at them. Look at that. This Transcendence is online, the Amplification Matrix is online, and, of course, the Supercharger, all of which really denies space.
Mentality field out front. There's a Transcendence to boot as well, so 2 big get out of jail free cards. Self-destruct right there. That's gonna find a triple, and that's gonna be it for your offense. Only bad thing here, really, once again, DPS is. I mean, do you wait for it? Do you see if it lands? I mean, pretty much as soon as this self-destruct goes up, you can kind of tell these players have been sectioned out, right?
Yeah. I mean, Highlight to Kronos, though, actually gets the sound wave as well and displaces a couple more players to give the 3K. So, you know, a combo play again, and that really has been DePaul University's strengths to this point. I will say, though, now they have nothing. And Fairfield University really needs to make a hold here. They need to use the Supercharger. They need to use this Gravitic Flux to stop this push in its tracks.
4 minutes, 45 seconds left in this one. Walk the first in this. Noob just firing a lot. There's the nasty stick in the back. No, it's not perfectly aimed in time to self-destruct. No, it don't need to be. Speed piece right there. Boops or not. 4 minutes 30. All University is rolling.
This is a disaster because Gravitic Flux was used there from Vortex. And now you walk back in with a Supercharger. It's not in an ideal position. This Deadeye is not going to get value. That's just going to roll in. Completely uncontested. Fairfield University had one opportunity for that hold on third, and they just, quite frankly, wasted it. As,
Tough. High Noon is like never going to get value there. Do you switch on somebody to get back quickly? Do you switch onto like a Mei just for stall capabilities? That's a tough one. That is a tough one from Walk.
There's Kronos there in the back, by the way. Just comes in, and Quef's like, uh-oh.
Yep.
And here's where you need to use the Supercharger, by the way. This is where, like, before the Pulse Bomb comes online, that's where the Supercharger needs to be used. Because you're waiting for an opportunity, and the opposition will never give it to you if they're, playing correctly. So,
I hear you.
In Overwatch, a lot of the time, it's about making, it's about forcing opportunities in your favor. And then when those opportunities are then created, executing on it. And that's a lot of the reasons why the good teams are so aggressive in modern Overwatch, right? It's because of sort of that idea that you can't just wait anymore. And that's really a big difference. I think, perhaps in Overwatch of days past, that was a possibility, but these teams have gotten so much better over the years. The players have gotten so much better over the years. I think the average skill level of a player in Overwatch now in 2021 is leagues better than, miles better than what it used to be even 2 years ago.
But you're making a statement about the esport. League's better. 10 seconds into this one. I like the pharmacy combo up top. It has already gotten 10% value on this, even with reduced aggression early. Is that a flanking Lucio? Chrono's doing my heart good. I love it.
Actually, Chrono's
what a boop!
So that's the thing. That flanking Lucio, what they're doing is they wait till Vortex gets into the main, the main choke point, and then comes in on the flank and uses the sound wave to put them even further closer into the team. So you're just there's nothing you can do as the tank player. You need kind of a support to kind of save you, and obviously there's no mitigation with no Baptiste here. So DePaul University doing a great job of isolating these targets.
Dude, doing their best look at one clipping of Pharah. Here's back to it. Mercy barely getting there in time. Now it's really just an accuracy versus... Oh, man. Just an accuracy question. Noob is not a bad player by any means, not saying that. It is incredibly hard to have landed all of those shots. It just would have been beautiful to see.
Yeah, I mean, while all that's happening, though, like, that's two players that are not helping the front line. And one player taking care of two, and even then, Brick actually tried to fade back to try and support, so then it becomes 5v3. DePaul University just hold, and they haven't used anything to do it. That's the critical part.
Ooh, as
big
it
pick
is.
off here, though.
Rick, yeah. Finding one early. There's the bomb down, but throughout the thick of things, Kronos falls. There's the coalescence, and that's not one but two. Obscure finding a lot with that. Zeph finding some as well. A flying monkey coming up, taking care of the Pharah. I'd love to see it. I've literally seen everything now. Obscura and Noob comboing on that down bottom. Doesn't need a one clip when you have an Obscura Moira on the other side. Logo actually used that whole hog at the end there as well.
Yeah, it does get safe. And I mean, here's the thing. A player was contesting the objective, so not even a tick gained there for all that space. That's really remarkable for DePaul University.
Trying to pick a place right here is Gil. Now here comes the Valkyrie, excuse me. Kronos falls to some contributed damage from a lot of different players on this. Now back to it. There's the damage boost still. Rick. And that's Walk finding some in the back right here. Now the Primal Rage initiated by the copy. Finding a little bit right there. Primal Rage is hard to get a whole lot of value with, period. Gil falling in the back right here. Choose now to get on out of dodge while getting is good. Logo finding one on the way. It's not a bad look, but it is Lucio, and they'll get back quickly.
That is the fastest moving member, and I mean, keep in mind that Obscure's going to have this coalescence at the start of this next fight. Look how much HP Tangerine's about to give over. Yeah, look at that. You've got the Dragon Blade, though it should be mitigated somewhat by the armor that Craft is currently inspiring.
Oh, you can't deflect those, my friend. Rick. Face to the face. Wait. Face to the face. Punch to the face. Excuse me. Getting on over to small health pack. 45 seconds or so. So not over with quite yet. Noob just kind of rotating around on the point, both contesting and choosing places. That's a stick, and Quef knows it. Fighting this one 6-6 for right now. What a pull, but the boop afterwards saves this Tracer's life. Now here comes the sound barrier, and that should afford DePaul University a lot of space. The turn and cut. Walk dashes to Samarkai's right here. It still stays within the line of fire. DePaul University so close to a full hold on this one.
Yeah, Chronos with an actual hero play there. Gets the boop onto the Hog as Logo tries to get the hook. And then uses a sound barrier to deny any follow-up damage on top of that. So just a brilliant support play there from the main support.
Walk felled, Quef as well. Nobody able to even touch on this one. Fairfield University gets shut out again.
I think the most impressive part about that was the retake from DePaul University on that first objective, right? Not only was it retaking, they never gave up percentage on the point. This is going to be a little flashy play here, but ultimately that, I think, was a highlight standout from them in regard to, you know, the fact that they just wait long enough, you know, force the cooldowns at the choke point. Then when, you know, Fairfield gets the objective, try to, you know, continue the fight. That's when DePaul University really uses their resources. So really strong play from them here, actually, to give themselves a 2-0 lead.
100% agree here, LaFon. So 2-0 lead, 2-0 in the first game, 3-0 in the second game. Again, means 2 goose eggs, an overall goose egg put up by Fairfield. DePaul University looking super fine. If they're 0-6 right now, LaFon, nobody told them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm starting to wonder if perhaps I misread, you know, the standings at some point with the performance that they had here, because that's remarkable stuff as they kind of go through. Let's take a quick look at the map pool, though, because map number 3 is coming up in just a moment. Hanamura, Assault. And now, Assault is one of the great revealers of Overwatch, I think is fair to say. Teams that struggle get shown up a lot on this map type. And so here's where DePaul University can really put to rest some of the conversation points that we've kind of set up here. Because if they get a good defense here on Hanamura, then all of a sudden it's looking like a 3-0 is not just possible, but almost certain at that point.
I hear you. It's kind of edges being cleaned up. It's kind of communications and coordinations, right? There was a couple different times earlier as well for Fairfield. We saw DPS would kind of go in, or one of these diving tanks would kind of go in, and then just not really be able to get a whole lot done by themselves because other members are just busy rotating or taking up heals, going for health packs, other things like this, and just one player is left out in the lurch to fight 1v5, 1v6 sometimes even. Anything is going to be tough, no matter which, you know, what your dueling capability, which hero you're playing, unless you're like nano boosted and ulting and everything else like this. Next on the docket is Hanamura, though, and like you said, I think this could be one-sided again.
Yeah, I want to talk about standout players, though, because I think, you know, we've sort of seen a lot of good team play, but Chronos has really stood out to me specifically, right? The Lucio player, in a big way, has been a reason why the team has kind of been as dominant as they were, because they're, you know, sectioning off the front line. The understanding of the rotations for the Lucio, the wall rides have been pretty good. And I think the timing on the sound barrier, the ultimate generation, has been very, very, very strong as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's been multiple the Samurai, I believe, on the on the Genji that simply would have died. We'll call it one slash into their 4 or even 5 sometimes. That is frequently taking like a kill per slash right there. So you're talking about the difference between an ultimate use and a Genji dying and maybe a kill versus sound barrier, nobody else dying, and the Genji living long enough to get all of their ultimate done. There's been multiple situations that Chronos has simply unlocked. Not even counting the impressive boot play on the bridge earlier to set up, I think, 1 kill into 3 to set up the kills 2 and 3 with the well-placed boot. So yeah, we're talking about MVPs. Gotta agree with you, LaFon.
Speaking of a little bit, we're going to change up the compositions here for DePaul University as they go with the Reinhardt Sigma. Fairfield University continue to play formation of Rush. I'm unhappy about calling it that, though. It's more of a hybrid composition, in all honesty. Noob should continue to find value, though. There's nothing to really shut him down beside Gil. No, they're traded, amusingly enough.
The perfect trade, yes, exactly. That's, of course, going to go the way of DePaul because they have this Chronos Mercy. The res comes through, nothing on the other side. We'll see Gale back with the rest here in just a little bit. Brick finding 2 right there. A little charge action, a little swing action onto their counterpart. The other Reinhardt on this one as Logo finds a little bit of value down bottom as well.
Yeah, I think the... has this been a switch up in terms of... Yes, it has. Logo has been playing off tank, so this has now been Logo on the DPS too. All right, interesting stuff. As they switch over the players a little bit. So not just the composition, but player roles.
It's paying off so far.
Yeah, it's playing off so far. I will say DePaul University overstep a little bit. They play in a close quarters room with a Reinhardt, which, you know, not the most ideal situation. This time, though, they don't allow Brick to get there, and that's going to be an opening pick.
Yeah, definitely no res capabilities, at least right now. Noob coming into this one. Now the barrage on board as well. That's a nasty purple. I thought he was going to go for the melee at the end. Just got to add insult to injury on that. No ultimate's really necessary. DePaul University can escort it on in, and everybody seems to... There you go. Now they pay attention to those turrets.
Yeah, it's going to be flick over, and I mean, it was Logo who uses the ultimate only in that fight, right? The photon barrier. So now, little charming charge play through the teleporter there. Logo going to switch over to the Cassidy here. So more, more control against Noob, who does have the barrage. I would expect, you try and play for the barrage eliminations here on this first push, and then if it works, great, you get the point. If it doesn't, switch to a different target. But Quef going to open up with the rally here just to deny, a lot of damage to the offense.
Not against it. There's the amplification matrix. Fire strike out first, try and pick out some of these squishies in the back. That's Noob with a lot over on the other side. Logo usually going to be able to find those against a Fairfield up top, but Noob finds not that, but more. Purple, but nobody told him, finds another shot inside there, and now starts progression onto point. DePaul University looking to rotate down bottom right now. Noob gets mega low right there, they'll have res. Okay, yeah, that's going to be Gil at the end. I think Chronos might have actually, initiated res earlier. Not sure, but now it's Samarkai's time to shine and not even able to get there. 4 minutes, Lafon, plus 15 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, that's the play they needed to do, right? The barrage is the one. It was just a one play. I said if they could get the barrage into a position where it can get value, then you likely get the point, and it does. I mean, it's a one trade, but it also gets the flashbang out as Logo goes down, right? So that's a player gone. And now you have more mobility over the map and a lot more utility to use. So credit to DePaul University for isolating a target and then, following up the damage there. That's always the problem on Assault. Sure, you can perhaps get a pick off, but if you're not in a position to, get in close and follow up, then it's kind of a wasted pick. DePaul University makes no such mistakes as now, I mean, they put themselves in a very strong position to close this series out 3-0.
Yeah, they really do. We had one situation of that already. First game was, There was a forfeit in the first game. This will be all for this. Well, you have plenty of Overwatch action after this one, but like LaFon said, way DePaul University has been playing. Might get a clean 3-0 sweep on Hanamura in 4 minutes and 15 seconds, and the time blank offensive-wise is the way to do it.
Now, Fairfield University are going to go dive for the first time today. Trying to, get a little bit of that success that DePaul University showcased earlier. That being said, I mean, no hit scan. So, Noob, if played correctly, this Pharah can really get value on the cross, especially on the back line because Walk does not have a lot of mobility. So keep an eye out on that.
Back to the middle right here, Noob doing exactly what they need to off the beginning. That's a smart little play right there. In damage. Chipping it over the side right there. Kind of pensive to move in. Fairfield University is right there towards the middle. Vortex tossed out a mech very early. Gil kind of put on unique duties there and forced to come all the way back. Quef kind of having to split attention right here, and that's not going to do well with DPSs like this around.
Yeah, and I think the big problem is once the DMAC comes in, now the Pharah is unleashed.
Yeah.
Because you don't have anything to really stop your spam. So all of a sudden, you can't focus on the front line, can Fairfield, because, well, above you, there's just literally raining rockets. And that's going to slow things down here. Noob has the barrage. Gil going to switch over to the Ashe here instead of the Reaper, so more range. Still the same problem remains, though. You haven't solved the issue of crossing while the DPS still punishes your backline. The DePaul DPS punishes your backline.
That's a lot of damage in initially. Again, just looking for the diva off the front so Noob can go absolutely wild on this. First couple shots, getting away from it, and that's not going to be enough. Oh, shots into the wall as well. So going to get damage onto Diva and more, but that is why Overwatch is a 6v6 game. It's a team-based game. Noob doesn't have to do everything by themselves.
Yeah, and even with Chronos going down, I mean, you're moving both back swiftly, right? So they'll come back together as a pair, and by the time this next fight starts, Noob should be back in position. And even then, I mean, you've got the Dragon Blade here. You can look at Samurai trying to posture for that blade.
Nasty sleep, not going to see a Gravitic Flux, not going to need a Gravitic Flux. Back to the middle right here, swinging for the fences is safe. Going to find a nasty stagger right there. Maybe even drawn that one out a little bit more, because time really is the name of the game here for both of these squads.
Yeah, I mean, Samurai follows up the Earth Shatter with a Dragon Blade, so, you know, not the most common combo, but it works very well. And now DePaul University, minute half left on the clock here. And I mean, Fairfield has the problem. Ooh, Gravitic Flux at the choke. Please avoid this.
Finds one, and that's going to be it. Does take the Diva out of the equation for the time being. A nasty purple up front. Walk hasn't been getting like a bunch of members with it, but when they have been getting it, has forced members of DePaul to really respect it. Right now, Zafe coming off of that purple, and they're going to find a lot against him. There's another purple against him. Now a Primal Rage in the back takes out Samurai for the time being, while Rick is off doing that. Teammates still getting it done, finding a way in edgewise onto Hanamura, and their first team kill. That will be your Fairfield University squad. They're not out of this one yet.
No, they're not, but there's only 2 members left alive, so I'm curious to see if DePaul University are going to elect to give up space here, or they're going to try for the recontest. And seeing as they're posturing on the higher ground of B, they are giving up that first objective. That being said, the time bank is already going to be at a deficit, 343 compared to 415. And Fairfield University, I mean, there is still an engage, right? I would nano the Brick here, use that nano boost, and then follow up the self-destruct as the Winston engages. That's kind of the play you have to make here, I think, to open things up. DePaul University, if they can get the shatter down, will stall this out quite significantly.
There's Brick initially gets bubble down, but that's going to be pretty much it. Zeph, in the meantime, finds this with 2 ultimates on the end. Gil as well, so DePaul University answering with their own team kill bell.
Yeah, and now Noob should be going back to spawn here to switch. Staying on the Pharah is harder to do, especially on the second point. There's not a lot of vertical mobility on objective B. But, I mean, seems to be sticking with it. That being said, that was exactly what I drew up for DePaul University, right? Once they got that shatter out, it didn't matter what execution tools you have. Fairfield, the play is still the same. Just now they don't have to worry about the shatter. They need to go in with the Nano Monkey, follow up with the self-destruct to kind of open things up, but they're not in a position to really do that yet.
There's a lot of capabilities right here, and again, DePaul just meeting him there. Rick, main tank, felled for this, and I feel like every time we switch onto Samurai's perspective, he is pulling out this blade and going to work, making sushi.
Yeah, that's 2 ultimates again. It takes another minute off the clock as Kronos uses the Valkyrie. But, oh, that's a stagger onto Vortex. They get the DMAC in spawn. Not ideal, to put it mildly. And, I mean, here, this is the issue. The window of opportunity that Fairfield had was off that combo play. Now Fairfield have been given enough time to cycle everything back in their toolbox, right? And so this is a fight now where Fairfield are walking into DePaul University in a more advantageous position.
Yep, and just like that, between the amplification matrix and the barrage down bottom, Bob is the only one left alive. That was only for a little while. Rick, a little juggling action up top, so does find one with it, but of course this is your DePaul University on defense. This will not do much for them. That is just going to feed a lot of ultimate in a situation where Fairfield needed a lot of it. So, or when DePaul needed a lot of it, excuse me.
That feeds no ultimates over to Fairfield, and it feeds both damage and support ultimates over to DePaul, right? Because the supports will now get an extra amount of healing, so... Oh, that is not ideal. Brick did make the change over. That shadow was ambitious. Did make the change over to Reinhardt, so some opportunity here.
I love the definition. Oh, Zeph felt in that. big charge. Brick Rick opening that one up. Fairfield University just did this on point number 1. On the back foot is DePaul right now. Samurai barely able to even stay alive on this. Back to the middle. Logo pays for this one with their lives. Now back to it. Gil forced to switch attention on this one. Back down to it. Walk actually runs out of ammo, and or excuse me, Noob actually runs out of ammo. Walk is able to get this one. Now back on to this. I think even though a nasty purple is there.
Kronos.
Kronos! Battle Mercy. That's not 1. That's not 2. That's 3 headshots in a row.
That's 5 final blows for Kronos in that fight.
Now we know who we're going to be getting into.
Stymied. Kronos just stymied DePaul University almost single-handedly. On Mercy!
Singing the praises of the Lucio action earlier, definitely be talking about that one in the post-game. Noob taking a lot of damage, and Zafe actually falling first, so defense have an advantage. 2 seconds to go. Somebody has got to touch right now. That happens. Now the barrage in the back is able to take out one. Samurai left without a target. That's the last few seconds. Members here, only 1/N. 2 DPS ultimates for absolutely nothing. Obscure finding 2 Kronos following this one up. And maybe I shouldn't have gotten so excited, LaFawn.
Well,
Exciting little action there towards the end, but all for naught. DePaul University does whiff not 1 but 2 DPS ultimates. I mean, well, okay, sorry, they get 1 pick that they could have taken with this regular direct rocket, and then the Genji just pulls out the sword and starts screaming at the wall.
here's the thing. We'll just say the fight before where Kronos got those eliminations on Mercy was the actual final fight.
Yeah, let's go with that. I'm with it.
Okay, look at this. Vortex trying to remech. Kronos comes in with a Valkyrie. There's 1. Well, you see Quef as well as 2. So that's 3 now as Walk is taken down. 4 onto Brick Rick.
That was 4 headshots. Wow, too. Yeah, so 5 picks, 4 headshots. Percentages onto DivaMex. If you know of a better Valkyrie Mercy play than that, you let me know, LaFawn.
So we don't really do player of the match, right? But it's Kronos, right? The Lucio play was spectacular. Mercy play there was fantastic. So I'm just gonna say it. Yeah, Kronos is the player that I was most impressed with here.
Absolutely. We'll be getting a member of DePaul University, and maybe will be Kronos. Stick around to find out for our interview action coming up in just a minute. Hello and welcome back. We are here with Tangerine to come on in and give us a minute of their time after the game. A 3-0 sweep it was, and as well, so congratulations, Tangerine.
Thank you so much. Really excited to be on the receiving end of one of the interviews. We've been working really hard to try and get one, honestly.
There you
Actually,
go.
that leads into my first question pretty perfectly. We got to talk about the scoreline of your team and kind of the win-loss record. Up to today, it's been a bit of a struggle, I think it's fair to say. But it did not look like it once you got into game today specifically. You guys were in control from the very beginning of Busan. Talk to me a little bit about the difference of the team before, today, and kind of what you're hoping this leads into in the future.
Yeah, so I think the development as far as the team goes has really been growing. And our comm structure as well has definitely been improving over time. Most notably, we're able to take engagements a little bit quicker and start to think on our feet a little bit better. So that's really been helping us a lot as we've been traversing through our new schedule. And we've also just had a really rough strength of schedule, honestly, for the first few games. So for us, this was a game where we really were happy to kind of show what we're actually made of for once, and came out as a win. So love to see it.
Yeah. We have to talk, of course, about the compositions you guys showcased throughout, because I think, obviously, the dive was really the flavor that came into play. Samurai and the Genji, of course, Noob playing primarily the Tracer, though later in the maps, a couple of Pharah picks as well. Is that sort of, you talked about your team improving throughout sort of the season, and is that kind of something you guys are focusing on, just focusing on one composition, trying to improve that tremendously, or are you trying to sort of flex into more, different styles and have those at your wherewithal as well?
I think specifically for this match, I think our mentality was more like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, really. We weren't really going to overthink too much. It seemed to be working well, so we didn't really want to change up too much. We're definitely not what I would consider to be like a one-trick pony by any means. We have a lot of different sorts of tricks up our sleeve that we're working currently in scrims and trying to refine up right now. But definitely the dive look has been what we've been feeling quite comfortable on lately, but that's definitely not to say that we're not able to keep stretching out.
Yeah, fair enough. I gotta get your take on this though, because Kronos really stepped up big in that penultimate fight on Hanamura. I think it was like at least 4, maybe 5 final blows. Majority of them headshots. Of course, your triple kill on Eichenwald with a self-destruct, also set up by the support player. A big player today. Talk to me about sort of what your team was kind of doing, or kind of went through with the Mercy getting that many eliminations in that quick a succession at the end there.
I think I was the first one to actually just like start actually mentally screaming, because I was just sitting in spawn, so I had no idea what was going on, and all of a sudden I see headshot, mercy, and it's not something you see every single day. So I popped off. Crow was just laughing like a maniac the entire time, and it was so funny. So being on the receiving end of some of his craziest plays has definitely been a joy to watch as a player for this team.
Absolutely. It was incredibly entertaining for us to watch as well. Like you said, just mercy headshot. Not something they see every day. Just in the unleashing of anger as a mercy or as a support player myself, I can definitely feel that one. You mentioned some tricks up the old sleeve here, Tangerine. Obviously, these are things you guys are working on. You don't want to talk about publicly. That's okay. But if there is something, I'd love to hear a little bit about what DePaul has in mind.
I think I'm just gonna leave you with this. Make sure you check back winter quarter for us. So when we come back, we're gonna come back as strong as ever, and I can promise you that.
There you go. There you go. Perhaps a new team here coming in to 2022. Last question here, Tangerine. Need you to settle a dispute between LaFawn and myself. Does gravitic flux, does gravitic flux count as a movement ability? If you're talking about does Sigma have a movement ability, would you consider gravitic flux a movement ability?
I definitely would not. I wouldn't consider it as its primary.
All right, well, that's going
purpose
to be it for
to be-
Tangerine.
Oh, bless. Oh, an actual good take. An actual good take. Oh, an actual good take.
Thank you so much for production to follow me up on that one. No, really, Tangerine, come on back. We're not done with you quite yet. I think you can kind of tell which my opinion was on that one, though, right?
I was alone. It's not a
For
movement
real?
ability. It's not a movement ability. If
Yeah,
you're
no.
using it as a movement ability, you're wasting the ability. That's just, ugh. Oh, anyway.
Categorically incorrect or not, LaFawn and I will be back with you for the next run. But Tangerine, again, I want to thank you for your time afterwards. Once again, congratulations on the 3-0 victory over this Fairfield University squad. And I want to ask if you got any shout-outs here before we get you on out of here.
So just big shout outs to the team right now. Also shout out to our manager, Maggie, over in the back. You want to come over here, Maggie? Come on over. Yeah, we actually have
Say
a.
hi, Maggie.
I'm at the gaming center right now of our school, and Maggie's the moderator. So he's our manager.
Hey, Maggie.
Definitely been a big help within running behind the scenes stuff. And just shout out to the board in general. Zafe is on the board who just played. So we've been hard at work, and you've definitely been a nice solid rock for us throughout the season. And big shout outs to the players as well. Of course, they did wonderful today, and I'm happy to call them my teammates.
There you go. Teammates, the support staff over there at DePaul University, and more. Love to see it. Love to see it. Tangerine, once again, thank you for coming on and giving us some of your time after the game.
Thank you so much.
No problem. No problem. We will be looking at your university. Oh, nope, that's not right. Hang on. Looking at next here. Do you have the schedule up?
I don't actually.
All gravy. Siena College
I'm still
and
sitting here
University of
in
Delaware.
I'm still basking in the glory of being correct about Gravitic Flex.
Tangerine was the end-all, be-all to that argument, so you're 100% right. Siena College, University of Delaware, coming up next here. That's going to be start time of 8:30. Obviously, we've had some 0-3s today, so we are moving briskly through that schedule. If we can, we'll get that to you a little bit earlier. Otherwise, it'll be about 25 minutes before that one does start. You'll have a couple new casters up there as well, some fresh faces, and that to bring you that audible chocolate. For now, it's FBI Tugboat and LaFawn. LaFawn, got anything else for the good people before we say goodbye, but not good night for the stream?
No, actually, just goodbye from me as well.
There you go. Bye from me as well.